Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Taurus for November 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my blog, and check out my new school, the Astaria School of Practical Magic, where I help you use ancient and scientific wisdom to bring the magic of the ethers into your practical reality. So what's going on in the month of November? We have a still open window through the middle of the month, even through the new moon, we'll say, on the 18th, for big decisions, pushing things through, launching big things out into the world, establishing a foundation that you can later build upon, because this is the second to last window that we have before that wall of retrogrades of personal planets starts in March of 2018 and persists throughout the rest of 2018. So if you have some big things that you really want to get done before sometime in 2019, try to push them out before this retrograde cycle, if it's intuitively in line for you, because you'll have to wait a while for your launches if you don't get them out in that time. So you've got this time you can do that. I'm going to go into much more detail about the general transit soon, but first I want to talk about some things specific to Taurus. So let's talk about the full moon and the new moon. The full moon is going to happen at close to 12 degrees of Taurus on November 3rd. Now, having a moon cycle in your sign is especially notable. And of course, if you have planets next to 11 to 12 degrees, you're going to be affected most because that full moon will occur on your rising sign or your moon or your planet or whatever you have, your sun or whatever. So if you're about 11 or 12 days into the sign, or about 11 or 12 degrees, or in the degrees around that, then this full moon's going to hit you on and be even more powerful for you. What does it all mean? Okay, so full moons bring accomplishments, that brings like a building of something that gets done finally, or it can bring drama. It can bring the need for attention. Something comes from the darkness out and is elucidated and requires attention. So it can bring a crisis, or it can bring a breakthrough, or it can bring both. So for the early and some middle degree placements, that focus for the fullness, completion, fruition, drama has to do with your physical body or your image, how you put yourself out into the world. So that could mean great recognition for you. It's very common that when there's a full moon in the first house, as it will be for you early in some middle degree placements, that all eyes are on you. The first house is about you. So all this attention is coming to you. And that can be for better or worse. That can be because you've accomplished something, or that could be because of a health crisis or something that you have going on that's emotional that needs attention. If you have symptoms, I don't think it's good to ignore symptoms anyway, but if you're having symptoms, they might get stronger and have a physical event at this time. Something that's been hidden in your physical body might erupt out. The rest of the middle and then later degree placements. So in order to figure out whether you're an early, middle, or late degree placement, just break down the 30 days that the sun is in Taurus into 10-day increments. So the first 10 days the sun is in Taurus, that's the early degree. And for your rising sign, that's 0 to 9 degrees. The middle is the second 10 days, and then that's 10 to 19 degrees for your rising sign. And then the late is the last 10 degrees of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees if you're watching for your rising sign. So the second half of the middle and then the latter part of this, of the Taurus placements, you're going to have this fullness, completion, fruition, accomplishment, drama occur in your 12th house. Now, for many people, this is actually going to be an emotional breakdown. And this can be in a small way and can be very productive, or it can be in a big way and be very unsettling. Taurus energy in general tends to hold in emotions unless you have other things in your chart that work against this. Taurus tends to just do what has to be done and not really give much mind to how it feels. It's just how it's supposed to be, or taking care of business, taking care of the material needs of the family or self, or attending to the practical things of life. So there could be, it's just to be time to break down emotionally. And I think that's a very healthy thing in many cases if it's not a serious issue. But if you have an issue mentally and something is brewing, then definitely stay in touch with your healthcare practitioners. So especially around this full moon, because, there could be something that goes on there. But in any case, this 12th house has to do with fears also, anxieties and fears, things swept under the rug, things put in the attic. So it's very empowering in the way that something that's been hidden that's causing you problems can come to light. A fear, a secret that somebody has, a secret you have from yourself. So you'll find many inner riches in this time, but you have to go through the work of having it come up and look at it. It's just kind of like a cut or a blister or something that has to come to a head, and then it can clear and heal. This could also come in the form of a major breakthrough mentally or emotionally, or a triumph over an addiction or a fear or something like that. So it's really a toss-up as far as how you might experience this, but I always think that even the more challenging expressions have the potential to be amazing depending on how you frame them. And especially if you know what to look out for, I would save some space around this time so that you can be emotionally present with however it comes up. So the new moon is occurring on November 18th, and that is going to occur for all of you. You're going to experience this in the 7th house. So that's why I'm calling the theme of this month Relationship Riches, because new moons bring new opportunities. So you early degree placements, you have Jupiter having started moving through your 7th house. You middle degree placements, early middle, you'll start to have this soon. The other middle and later degree placements, it's going to be a little while before Jupiter starts to move in the 7th house. But for the short-term transits, all of you have either this ongoing or beginning this focus on the relationship. So empowering others, working with others, collaborating with others, creating win-win situations, pulling in practitioners that you need. Having a new moon in the 7th house makes you very attractive energetically to the people that you need to get something done. So whether it's an emotional counselor, a doctor, whether it's a business helper, a website design person, whatever it is that you need to move to the next level, you're really sticky for relationship energy. So this is coming in the form of the new moon. This is coming in the form of the personal planets moving through the 7th house, which is short-term boost. It's coming in the form of Jupiter there, or going to be there at some point. And it's also coming in the form of Jupiter making a conjunction with Venus. So this happens on November 13th. This is a really big day in the cosmos. It's amazing for merging through marriage or money or work or whatever. Many a brilliant opportunity for merging is going to come around that time. And even though there are some things to look out for energetically, which I'll talk about in the general transits, it's a really good time to be doing things like that. For you early degree placements, you're going to actually have that Venus. Venus rules love, beauty, and money. Jupiter rules expansion and growth and luck. They're coming together, so it expands love, beauty, and money. Early degree placements are going to also have that happen in the 7th house of relationships. The rest of you are going to have that happen in your 6th house. So that can relate to work opportunities, self-employment opportunities. That can be something that goes on at work, romance at work, or romance anywhere really. It's very focused on people merging together in the many different ways that can happen. And that's true for everybody. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Taurus for this month. Now I want to give you the play-by-play of what transits are happening, what dates, what you can expect from them, and what you can do with them. So the theme of the month for all signs for November 2017 is Train Your Inner Hero. And this is on account of a bunch of aspects with Chiron. Chiron is an asteroid. It's named after a gentle centaur in Greek mythology. Many people who follow Chiron in their charts will know that he's known as the wounded healer. So when you're following him in your chart, this is a place where it's like your Achilles heel, you're strongest everywhere else except there. That's your sore spots, your most vulnerable points. But there's another aspect of Chiron that's lesser known, and that is that he was a trainer of heroes. Many of the figures in Greek mythology, the heroes in Greek mythology that won these victories that we've heard about all this time, they were trained by Chiron. And so as we have aspects with Chiron, challenging and more soft, we have this wonderful opportunity not only to work on this tyrant victim polarity that comes up so readily on the earth plane. That's another piece of Chiron, is to remember that when we feel like someone is being a tyrant to us, then we're automatically a victim, and vice versa. So the belief in any point of that polarity brings perpetuation of the dynamic back and forth and the role playing back and forth. So Chiron assists us to transcend these energies and to drop the story of victimhood and plant the seeds of empowerment. And it also assists us in training our inner hero. So a great trainer will use our weakest spots as not only places to fortify, but also places that make us different than other people, that bring us gifts. So you may find many gifts in focusing on your vulnerabilities at this time from these aspects, and that's one of the themes of the month. So we've got lots of Scorpio energies continuing into this month, and they are going to continue to bring in the themes that they started in October of deep introspection, mysteries, research, psychology. Astrology is in there also from the psychological perspective. This is the house and sign, the 8th house, of other people's money. So inheritances, shared money, marital money, sweepstakes, winning, finding money, money coming from nowhere, debt, credit. All of these are themes that are going to be continuing to be brought up by the Scorpio energies this month. There are many powerful transformations awaiting with this energy because Pluto owns that space of the deepest transformation, birth, death, rebirth. The phoenix rising from the ashes is a way that I always like to describe that energy. So we've got that energy present, but at the same time, this lighter, very different Sag energy starts to work its way in. And when Sag energy becomes present, we have the desire for action and movements, adventure and prolific expression. It's the sign of luck, and it's the energy of optimism, and also is a very strong intuitive, like following hunches to increase synchronicities, and increasing the breadth of our experience. Scorpio energy talks about the depth of experience, and Sag energy talks about the breadth. So we've got both of those going on this month. So you might find a lot of chances to spiral in and go deep, as we also spin out and go really wide. Lots of people will find that they are excited about and ready to and having opportunities to travel or do things with different countries, different cultures, different languages. Sag energy is also very much related to publishing projects, writing, editing, teaching, learning, and teaching and learning programs of any kind are Sag's domain. So, and just fun, Sag is a very easy, light-hearted, fun-loving sign. So you'll feel those energies start to roll in. In November, we are still in that window that started in September of this open time without personal planets being retrograde, but that's only through November 15th. November 15th, the Mercury retrograde shadow period begins. So Mercury doesn't go retrograde in November, but the shadow period starts on the 15th. So every day after the 15th, you start feeling that kind of the mishaps, the miscommunication, stuff with transportation, stuff with the devices coming up. And you can check out my video, Mercury retrograde do's and don'ts, on my channel, Annie Botticelli, Mercury retrograde. Also, you can just tune in to what's happening, and this is one of the most important things that I'd like to teach about astrology, is that you can hear about what's going on in the energies, but the more you start to match these dates with feeling into them, that's the biggest thing, because you will notice it. I have heard countless people tell me when they start paying attention, oh gosh, Mercury must be retrograde again. Things start slowing down, communications start getting more complicated, things from the past start showing up. So if you have a big launch or something you want to burst out into the world, trying to push it out by the 15th is a really good idea, because we don't want your out push to be interfered with by the in-roll of Mercury retrograde. Now, that being said, I will talk about a couple of dates after November 15th if you have to push some last minute stuff through that are really nice energies, but try to get the bulk of your gusto out before that time. I always liken this to the idea of being on a deserted island and making a boat. When you try to get off the island, you would not put your boat that you've worked so hard to make, this is your last chance, right? Your only chance to get off the island. You wouldn't put it out when the tide was coming in. It would make no sense. You'd be battling the waves and you probably wouldn't make it. But if you wait, if you watch the tides and you wait until the tide is going out to set your boat afloat, it's much more likely that you're going to reach your destination. So that's why we want to pay attention to these energies. And even though everyone gets, a lot of people get irritated with, oh, it's Mercury retrograde again, I don't want to hear about this. Well, it's true, but it's important as a rhythm, especially in a world where everything is about go, 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 that we have these beautiful retrogrades that remind us that sometimes it's just time to roll a little bit in and then store and save, hold the gold until we have these good launching points and then push out, and then roll back in. So half the month is in this major push out, and then we start moving into this roll back in type of energy. So I'm going to give you some details about some of the aspects to look out for this month and the dates they happen around. Do know that when I give you exact dates that the transits occur on, you could feel those manifestations before or after those dates, because it's not a finite point in time that these things are expressing. We often will feel them before or after. So just kind of pay attention. And always there are positive or easier aspects occurring at the same time as the more challenging aspects that are coinciding with each other. So you have to really tune into your own energy flow. And even if a date's supposed to be good for something, if you're feeling really strong the day before, don't be afraid to just bust it out. You have to use this information to follow your own intuitive flow and not let anything else supersede your own inner knowing. Also, when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com, you can get a written version of my general transit reading a month before, delivered right into your inbox, so you can have a visual on it as far as the dates and the energies that they can bring. So sometimes people like that for planning purposes. Okay, so we start out with a Mercury in Scorpio, trine Chiron and Pisces. This is one of the many Chiron aspects we have this month. That is why I called the theme of the month Train Your Inner Hero, because of this Chiron presence. And with this combination, and this is like the first through the second, but you could feel it before or after, support could come from inner work or another person as confidence is built through self-acceptance. Chiron, especially in Pisces, is just a very, it's an internal healing, anything that makes us feel like we're not right with anything, with ourselves, with the world, So the more we have self-acceptance, the more we can be open to support from other people because we feel like we deserve it. On November 2nd, there's a Saturn and Sag squaring Chiron and Pisces. So we have this sweet aspect at the same time as this challenging aspect. So it's like this newfound work with self-acceptance is going to be tested by an authority figure, likely something stern from the outside world. But it could be the other way around. It could be that because something is coming in as harshness, we can choose to use the softer energy to just love ourselves, love the person or the being, whatever it is that's reflecting this to us, and do good inner work with it. On November 3rd, we have a Sun in Scorpio trine Neptune in Pisces. This first occurred on July 5th, and it brings a really great focus on creativity and artistic talents. So you might use that energy purposely for creative or artistic work, or you might just find it's naturally brought out of you, that you're kind of in that mood. So this is a really positive and peaceful combination, and it's really supportive to assisting self and others. So then on November 3rd, we also have this full moon at almost 12 degrees of Taurus. Full moons bring fullness, completion, fruition to the sign that it is occurring in. Sometimes it brings drama. Sometimes it brings elucidation, the bringing to light of something. So that will be in the areas of everything Taurian, so this is personal finances, your own earned income, luxury items, earth, eco-related projects. This has to do with your values and also has to do with self-esteem. So we've got a really busy time at the beginning of the month because coinciding with this full moon, we also have something else going on November 3rd, which is Venus in Libra sextiling Saturn in Sagittarius. A sextile is a very favorable aspect. It usually is one that requires you to take action in order to get the good possibility from it. So when Venus and Saturn come together, it's really great for taking steps forward with long-term projects. And since there's energy in Libra, it would favor partnerships or working with someone on something. And this is a really great launching point for trying to move forward with things, but it's kind of a mixed bag, you know, because you have all this intensity around, and then the next day you have Venus opposing Uranus in Aries. And so this can bring jolts or overstimulation in the arenas of love or money or self-esteem, you know, so definitely issues with self versus relationship are being brought up. So it's possible that as you have a chance to move forward in partnership, the fears could come up, you know, of merging. And, you know, so you can use your intuition to see what you're supposed to do with that. But there's definitely a lot of energy around partnering and doing something for the long term. On November 9th, we've got the Sun in Scorpio making a great aspect to Pluto in Capricorn. Again, this is one that you would need to take action on to get its most positive attributes. And this has to do with bonding with other people in deep ways. So, you know, in love, in money, in business, you know, so you can kind of see this theme of partnership. And this is being brought over from the energies in Scorpio, some energies still in Libra. Libra and Scorpio are partnership energies. So just, it has to do with self, and it has to do with how we relate to others, which is a very common theme for this month. We'll look out on the 13th, or let's see, the 11th first. We've got another beautiful aspect. Now, this is a really big deal because when outer planets, the ones that take a really long time to move around, make aspects to each other, these themes last for a long time because they come together and then they retrograde apart and then they come together again, and they like follow this flow over an extended period of time where there's a long-term theme. So this is the last of the 3 brilliant matchups of this Saturn and Uranus energy. And these are very different energies. Saturn is long-term, ground building, foundational, and Uranus is out of the blue, surprises, can be unstable, and Saturn is stable, you know, so it's like this coming together of opposites in a way, in a beautiful configuration. So the first time this happened was December 24th, 2016. The second time it happened was May 19th of 2017. And then this is the third time. So it can really bring stability and expansion through the combination of innovation and technology, because Uranus rules innovation and technology. So this transit lasts well beyond the date of November 11th. You'll feel it in the weeks before, weeks after. Sensitive people will have felt it as a long-term theme for almost a year. So on the 13th, we've got a really fantastic aspect for merging. There's so much energy that's really good for weddings, for partnerships coming together. Like I said, it's a mixed bag because there's, you know, the challenges and the fears that come with it, and maybe the red flags even. But Venus matching up with Jupiter is one of the best combinations for love and money, you know, because Jupiter's a great expander and Venus rules love and money. So it can very thoroughly expand. Anything that you do on this day or around this day as far as money or love can be very, very powerful and transformational. So I really love it as a launch date for business things. You know, again, you just have to feel in, because there is an aspect on the same day where Mercury, which is ruling communication, is in Neptune, is squaring Neptune. And that can mean you're not seeing things clearly, you know? So if you've already done all of the work where you have to, you know, do your testing to make sure everything is cool to move forward, then this could just be a little blip. But if you're just meeting someone at this time, there could be an intense meeting, either romantic or otherwise, but there's this piece where you're maybe not seeing everything really clearly as well. So you just have to look out for that. On the 16th, Venus in Scorpio is making a beautiful aspect to Neptune, and this is wonderful for emotions and intimacy. You can see our theme of this partnership and coming together continues. Now, if you are someone who is moving through this time and you're not merging with people in any way, that doesn't mean that the transformation can't abound prolifically, because Scorpio energy is very deep and can be very individual, even though it does represent the merging of energies as well. But an individual going on a deep transformational journey can very much embody this energy, because it's the story of going deep into the self as well. So you can do really deep inner work with this, solve mysteries, find answers to problems, find solutions. There's a lot of different ways you can use this besides merging with other people. So on the 16th, we also have the sun in a beautiful aspect with Chiron. So Chiron coming up again, this has to do with your forgiveness of self, helping all of your relationships. When it comes back down to it, to simplify so many things in life, we are mad at ourselves and we project it on other people, and everything becomes a mess. It's really simple. So self-forgiveness and anything we do with self-forgiveness can be very greatly assisted this month, and that's part of training your hero. Okay, so then on the 17th, we have Mercury and Sag making a trine to Mars, and this is awesome for bringing thoughts into action. So Mercury and Sag is very busy mentally. Even though November 17th is technically in the pre-shadow period, you still can push some good things through on this day. Then we've got our new moon at 26 degrees of Scorpio on November 18th, and this is time to make your new moon wishes. New moon wishes are real, just like birthday wishes are real. You've got this new open window, especially when you align your wishes with the sign that the new moon is in. You can check out my website for a blog about this. It's called Making Powerful New Moon Wishes in Scorpio. You just go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and go in the blog, go in Astrology, and search for New Moon Wishes Scorpio. You can have a good guideline for how you can maximize these wishes. And I have those every month for every sign, so you can always find them there. But to summarize, you want to use those Scorpio related things that I talked about earlier: partnership, other people's money, deep finances, astrology, psychology, things like that, and align your wishes in those arenas for powerful transformation. This new moon is also going to be making a beautiful trine to Chiron, right? We keep talking about Chiron this month, so it's bringing strength and empowerment and interdependence. There's also a conflict with Mars and Pluto on the 19th that could show up as part of this new moon. Mars squaring Pluto is always a little bit nasty. I'm an optimist. I like to look at the bright side of things, but I will always tell you when I see an aspect that's yucky. It's not that you can't do something good with it. I hope that you will. That's my mantra, is challenging aspects are here for us to push through resistance and clear out issues that are interfering with our highest expression. But it can be kind of nasty, aggression, violence, all of these things. If you are to try to avoid circumstances where things like that could occur, be very careful driving, don't antagonize a crazy person. Things like that are good to avoid when you have a conflict with Mars, which is the ruler of war, and Pluto, the ruler of the underworld. So this first occurred on February 22nd, and it definitely brings the need to carry extra awareness, because it will definitely bring stress and conflict in many cases. Partnership commitments or unwelcome opinions from key relationships may come up, and how you respond to them could be part of the manifestation of this transit as well. By November 21st, that energy has cleared. We've got Venus and Scorpio making a great angle to Pluto. So now maybe that conflict brought things up, and now there's a smoothing over points. This can be very intense emotional or romantic experiences. This can have to do with amazing financial opportunities. So like I said, I had mentioned earlier that there'd be a few spots that would be okay for pushing some things through that are last minute things. I don't love them as the big launches if you can help it, only because you're kind of getting into that Mercury retrograde energy. But if you've got to push some last minute things through, November 17th was a good time. November 21st has some good energies. And on the 22nd, we have Neptune going direct in Pisces. So of course, anything that Neptune does is going to affect everybody, but it will affect Pisces even more. When your ruling planet, it's not just because Neptune's in the sign of Pisces, it's because Neptune rules the sign Pisces. So this is a very sobering time, so it's good for becoming practical and organized and making the abstract more concrete. On the 25th, we have a beautiful aspect with Mercury in Sagittarius, trining Uranus and Aries. And like I had said before, even though Mercury shadow period is happening, there are going to be people whose stuff starts to break down at this time and they need to get new devices. This would be a good point to push through, like if you have to get in a vehicle, if you have to get a device. If you haven't done it earlier in the month and things start to break down now from the shadow period having begun, this at least carries some good energy if you have to get some of those new things for things ruling communication and transportation. On the 26th, we have Venus and Scorpio making a trine to Chiron and Pisces. So this is really empowering for finances or your self-esteem or your romance sector. On the 27th and 28th, we have Mercury in Sagittarius making a conjunction to Saturn in Sagittarius. So big picture dreams, which is Sagittarius rules big picture dreams, may need some harnessing and organizing now. That's the influence of Saturn. So that's possible how it could manifest for you. Alternatively, hard work done to rein in scattered efforts can be very much rewarded. Since Saturn can be kind of serious and Sag can be light, sometimes the coming together of these energies can be something annoying and limiting to our flow and our expansion. But if you use the energy right, then it can be very productive, especially for long-term ventures. So these are the things that are most on my mind for the month of November for everybody. Definitely check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new in my blog. Check out my new school, my Astaria School of Practical Magic. If you are an empath, if you are a sensitive person trying to navigate in this crazy world and it feels like the rules are different for you and you don't know why everything is different than mainstream for you, it's definitely an amazing and magical, wonderful support system. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. Also, definitely check out my husband, B.R. Newman's Taroscopes. You can go to iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. If you haven't already signed up for my free email newsletter, then definitely do that on my website at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you have signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting it, we need to figure this out because I send it out religiously every month, a month early. I always have. I will as long as I can. And so if you're not getting it, something's going on with your inbox. It could be in spam. It could be in social promotion events folders. If you use the contact in your welcome letter that I send, there's a contact address that I say to add. And when you add that to your contacts, it gives the message to your email service to put things from me right into your inbox instead of one of those other folders. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.